Hey guys, Hello Bella, and in this video I'm going to be doing my 2023 financial goals, and I'm also going to do like a recap of 2022. And man, it was another dumpster fire of a year. 2022 for me was not a great year. Financially, did not pull in as much money as I normally do. Mental health was terrible. Physical health was terrible. I'm ready to put this year behind me. I'm really trying to, kind of look on the positive side of like, I have my health, I have my friends and family, but honestly, this year has just been really tough. I felt like I was in survival mode a lot of the time. And I do want to kind of touch on some things that I'm going to be working on to kind of get better off financially in this video. And I'm also going to talk about some of the things that I've already sort of put in place that have put me in a good financial position as I am right now. I'm 28 years old and I have my house paid for. I completely paid it off. The only thing I owe for right now is going to be my car. So, overall, I do feel pretty fortunate, and I feel like I've set myself up for success by living below my means, but also, being self-employed, you do have to have some level of self-control and planning. And if you want to, be able to pay all of your bills, but you don't make the same amount of money every month, you have to really be strategic in what you do. So we're going to go over my 3 biggest priorities when it comes to 2023, things that I want to work towards. So priority number 1 I have is saving for a new house. So we have outgrown our house. This house was fine when I was single, Bella, and I was living alone. But now that we are living together, I'm living with my boyfriend, we actually just don't really have that much room. We both work from home, so we both have a home office, and it's just getting a little bit cluttered. And we're also wanting to move to the beach. We want to live somewhere on the Gulf Coast, maybe towards Foley or Gulf Shores or Orange Beach or somewhere like that. And we're kind of toying around with the idea of Pensacola as well, but we're really trying to get closer to the water. And it's just kind of like a lifestyle goal for us to be able to live closer to the beach. So that's something that we're going to be working towards. Now, obviously, the housing market is really tough to break into right now. When I bought my house, I paid under $100,000 for it, and I don't think that we're going to be able to get the kind of house that we want for any less than $300,000. So it's quite a jump going from having no house payment at all to suddenly wanting to be able to afford a house in that price range. So obviously, one of the main goals is saving a lot of money, but also making sure that our credit is in good shape, that we stay up to date on all of our bills, and that we don't take out any additional loans or anything that we just don't absolutely need during this time that we are kind of preparing to buy a house. So that is probably my biggest goal for 2023 financially, and I'll by no means come up with all of the money for the house in 2023, but it would be awesome if we were able to get to that point where we feel comfortable starting to get pre-approved for a loan, reaching out to lenders, maybe finding a realtor who could help us decide what market we want to be in, and also just kind of we are in the research and development phase with that goal. And mentally it's tough for me to leave my hometown because I've always lived here and I love this place, I love the Shoals area, but at the same time I've been feeling really stagnant where I live. And those of you who've already left your hometown, you can probably attest to this, that life is very different when you're outside of the realm of what you've always known and what you've grown up with. So I really think that that is something that I sort of am feeling like an intuition that I need to move at this point. So that is one of my biggest goals for 2023, is to save for our new house. Priority number 2 is going to be saving for a new HVAC unit for this house, because this house is old and I am, kind of every couple of years something has to be replaced. That's just kind of what you have to deal with when you're dealing with an older house. I've had a little bit of plumbing issues, but nothing that was super crazy. But the HVAC system is well past overdue to be replaced. And if you've never priced out one of those, it is pretty expensive. They range between where I live around $6,000 to $10,000, and so I would like to be able to just pay cash for that. I really don't want to finance it because the financing options for those are, with really high interest rates and just generally not very good. I know that some places allow you to put your unit on your electric bill, so that could be an option. But we're planning on making this property a rental property. So we're gonna have this as another income stream when we move into our other house. So I'm gonna keep this property. So I want this property to be in good shape for whatever tenants that I have, because honestly, I don't want them calling me every other month saying we need to repair the unit. I spent like $800 this past summer just doing some repairs on the unit, and the guy pretty much told me like, you need to replace the whole thing. But I was like, okay, but like, can we just try to make it one more year? So he said, yeah, we can try and do that. So I'm sort of just, I don't know, rolling the dice at this point with the unit, and I really want to be able to get that replaced. So that is another one of those adulting things that maybe you don't quite think about too much when you're thinking about home ownership, but you know, you could easily have to drop $5,000 or $10,000 on a roof or plumbing or HVAC or any major issue that you have with your house. You could have foundation issues. And you know, I used to be a realtor, and one thing I would tell all of my clients is please make sure that you get a professional inspection done. Don't have your uncle or your cousin come and look at the property. You need to have someone who you know is going to tell you the real flaws of that property so that you know what you're walking into when you get your house. So with that being said, priority number 2 is mostly just one of those things that you have to deal with in life. I am saving up for a new HVAC unit. So priority number 3 for 2023 is going to be working on paying off my car loan. I had to buy a new car in January. I actually got hit in December of 2021 and it totaled my car. Someone hit me in a parking lot and it messed up my car. It has messed up my back, and I've had so many issues this year because of that accident. So my car was totaled and I wound up buying a new 2022 Nissan Versa. I do have a video about that car as well. I've really enjoyed the car. I've only put about 7,000 miles on it this year, and I'm working towards paying it off. I've got about $10,000 left to pay it down on it. What I'm thinking with my car loan is I've been making extra payments all year this year, and I've been chipping away at it. I'm paying, you know, 100 here, 50 here, 200 here. Just whenever I can, I pay a little bit extra on it. But I also don't want to take away from my cash reserve. So one thing I'm trying to do is kind of set like small quarterly goals for it. Maybe have it paid off 2 years early instead of paying on it for 5 years. Maybe I only pay on it for 3 years. I haven't quite committed to a strategy on that, but I do know that, you know, with it being the only debt that I have, it's sort of good for me to keep it around, because when it comes to my credit score and when it comes to like lenders trusting me, if you don't see like any proof of someone paying on anything, I don't know, maybe they just kind of get sketched out by that. So those 3 priorities were buying a house, buying a new unit, and paying off my car note. So with that, I'd like to go into another kind of section or whatever you want to call it, which is my mindset when it comes to money. So for me, money is a resource and a tool, and it can give you a lot of options and choices in life. And, you know, for a long time, I felt like, you know, maybe a lot of people make money like unethically, or maybe people who are making money are just doing something different or doing something that I don't know about. But now I feel pretty confident that I can make more money if I choose to and I put my mind to it. And so that's something that I'm trying to go into 2023 with the mindset of, is that this money is out there, and it's out there for me, and it's going to flow freely to me. I just have to believe that the money is for me. Another thing I want to focus on this year is to be like generous and charitable, because one thing I've noticed is that my mom is like the most generous person that I know, and she's very, very just kind of like always doing for other people and always giving. And I would like to sort of embody some of that mindset of, you know, helping people when I can. And I know that like my financial impact on a charity, like a nonprofit, you know, 10 or $5 is really not that big of a deal. But if I'm able to give locally and I'm able to give to smaller causes, I can definitely make an impact. So this year I am going to try to give to some smaller causes and kind of, you know, either put time or effort into it. A lot of you know already, but I am a volunteer with Big Brothers Big Sisters. So that is one way that I give my time to my community, and I'm able to help, you know, someone that, you know, I really have grown to love and have a wonderful relationship with. So that's one of the things I want to focus on, is being generous, being giving, and knowing that I can let my money flow to other people, because the money is going to come back to me. So I'd also like to go over some of my financial trends from 2022, and that is mostly just things that I've noticed that I've spent a lot of money on this year. I do believe that past performance is probably an indicator of future performance, and so whatever habits I have right now are likely not going to change that much in 2023, so an awareness of that is very important. One thing that I do every week is sit down and look at all of the things that have come out of my bank account. I categorize those expenses to kind of see how much am I spending on groceries, how much am I spending on my dogs, how much am I spending on shopping, entertainment, travel, things like that. And it has been a really, really useful thing that I've done because now I know where every dollar I have is going. So just looking back on the year 2022, I wanted to note that I spent $730 on alcohol, and this is not my highest category at all, but I just thought it was interesting because I spent $61 a month on alcohol, and I was asking myself, like, if you could sign up for a subscription plan and it made you feel tired and groggy and hungover and anxious and caused you to do things or say things that you wouldn't normally do, or maybe even things that you regret, and it pushed you further away from your goals, and that subscription cost you $61 a month, why on earth would you pay for that? So that's kind of how I'm feeling about alcohol right now. I think I'm going to try doing a sober January because during the holiday season, I have a lot of parties that we go to, and our family comes, and drinking is just part of our, I guess, cultural identity that we have. So I haven't tried to stop drinking, during the holidays, but I would like to do sober January, and I'd like to see this $730 in 2023. I'd like to see myself spend it on something more worthwhile rather than alcohol. So medical care was another huge expense for me this year. It was $3,823, probably closer to $4,000 because I spent some cash at some of my appointments, but that averages out for $318 a month on healthcare, and that does include my monthly premium that I pay through healthcare.gov, but it also includes my prescriptions and things of that nature. But I've had a really tough year when it comes to my health. I use healthcare.gov for my insurance, and I was able to get a plan for dental and health for 2023, and I really just encourage you to figure out how to get an insurance plan because I was not planning on getting into a car accident and having someone hit me and total my car and permanently damage my back. And this past year, if I didn't have health insurance, it would have been so much worse for me financially. I mean, I've paid thousands of dollars in 2022 for just things like my deductible. I haven't even met my deductible this year because so many things didn't count towards it. So I really want to preach, that insurance, even if you just have a crappy plan, it can keep you from going into, the kind of debt that could potentially stay with you for years and years and stay on your credit score. And it's no secret that American healthcare is complete garbage. And it sucks. It really does that we're not able to get the care that we need. I spend so much time this year on the phone with doctors' offices trying to get them to cover things, or with my insurance company trying to get them to fix things. And it is very frustrating, but at the end of the day, I am thankful that I have my health. I mean, one of the costs for me to get my MRI after I had my car accident was $1,000 just to get my MRI, and I couldn't even go see the specialist, the type of doctor that I needed to see, without that MRI first. So it's been really a struggle financially dealing with this car accident. I still haven't been reimbursed by the insurance company, and I'm still actually in treatment. I have to go back January for a follow-up to my doctor. I'm still in pain. So that's something that, if I didn't have insurance, I would be so much worse off financially. So I want to preach to you guys, especially if you're younger and you're going to turn 26 and not be on your parents' insurance anymore. Start thinking about that, 6 months or a year ahead of time. That way you're not bombarded with it whenever the time comes. So the next trend that I saw was I spent quite a bit of money on home ownership. So $3,450 on basically things that I needed to take care of my home. So this was about $288 a month, and that is not including a mortgage. I don't have a mortgage. That's just like the cost to like have a house and keep it functioning. One of the things that I pay for is lawn care. So that is $40 every 2 weeks just during the months that the grass is growing. And I'm happy to pay for that because I don't want to buy and store a lawnmower, and I definitely don't want to cut the grass. So that's one of the things that I pay for. Like I told you guys before, I spent about $800 getting my unit repaired. So that was another issue that I had. We also spent money redoing 2 rooms in the house. We redid the bathroom and the back bedroom where Daniel has his office now. We were actually able to save a lot of money by doing that work ourselves. I think we probably spent about $300 or $400 in total for the paint and the tape and the supplies and getting that room into better shape, but I'm really happy with the renovation. It looks so much better. The bathroom was so bad before. It had this horrible wallpaper, and you know, it was charming at first for the first few years of living here, and I was like, I can deal with it. It doesn't bother me that bad. But after seeing the before and after now, it looks so much better. So that is another thing that we spent money on. I also had to do like air filters. If you have a home, you are the one who's got to replace those air filters. I had to replace a hose on my faucet, like the sprayer thing that comes out of the sink. It broke, so we replaced that, but Daniel did do the repair, so we didn't have to call anybody for that. We just had to pay for the hose, so that wasn't too bad. One funny thing that I was talking to Daniel about was he moved in with me this year, and something was like broken, and I was like, oh, we got to fix that. And he was like, oh yeah, like we don't have like a maintenance man. I was like, you're the maintenance man. You're the one who has to fix it. I think that one thing that you don't realize after, you know, if you've lived in an apartment for years and years, when you buy a house, you are the one who has to fix every single thing. So, you know, if you have friends and family to help you, that's great, but just get real comfortable looking up YouTube tutorials because that is part of being a homeowner. I do love being a homeowner though, and I wouldn't trade it for anything because I like the fact that I can build wealth with real estate, and I still feel like real estate is a really good way to kind of step into that generational wealth that people build. And, you know, certainly I didn't come from money in my family, but it would be really nice if, you know, I'm able to leave my children multiple properties and we can, you know, help use these properties, this income to fund their life and to fund their college and things like that and their car. And I'm really just kind of looking forward to our next home purchase. So after home ownership, another category I spent a lot of money in was my car. Obviously, you know, to get a new car, you do have to spend some money. I spent, it looks like $10,439 all year, and that does include my down payment on the car, the gas, the insurance, the taxes, the maintenance, and the extra principal payments that I made. So quite a chunk of change on my car this year, but I don't really regret buying the car, and I don't regret, you know, at first I was like, well, maybe I should just get a used car, maybe I should just pay cash and be done with it, but my family does not have good luck with used cars. I bought a $5,000 car once, and I think I drove it like 2 days, and then it completely like crapped out on me, and I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna buy a used car again. Even when you get like certified pre-owned, I feel like you just, I don't know, like I don't want to run the risk of having those issues, and it's really stressful, and it can oftentimes cost you more money in the long run. So with my car, I did not have to put down as much money as I did, but I am happy that I did that because now I've got less than $10,000 left to pay on it. So my car was another thing that I'll keep paying on. Currently the payment on it is $237, and the insurance is like $520 every 6 months. So it's about $90 every month for car insurance. So combined, I think I've got, what is that, like $320 for the car every month. So not too bad to be driving a new car. It's certainly not like a luxurious car by any means, but you know, it gets me from point A to point B, and it's good on gas, and I really do like it. So I am happy with that decision. The last category was travel, and that was $2,774, and I'm really surprised that it wasn't higher than that. I averaged $231 a month on travel. We actually went on 2 cruises this year, and we went to Gatlinburg 3 times. We're going to Gatlinburg for the 3rd time in a couple of days. So one reason that I think my travel was so cheap was because I paid for one of my cruises last year. So I paid for my my Alaskan cruise about 6 months before I took the cruise. So, and that was about a $3,000 cruise when you count everything that we spent. So, but I was able to pay for that 6 months before. So this year, financially, I feel like one of the reasons that it was so cheap was because we split the cost with family or friends, and you know, traveling with another person definitely helps because you don't have to pay for everything yourself. You know, you can split things like gas. And on this particular trip to Gatlinburg that we have coming up, we've split that trip 4 ways because we have 4 people going. So, you know, a $1,200 Airbnb just became a $300 Airbnb. So really that's one travel hack that you can do. I know I did a lot of solo traveling when I was like in my early 20s, and it was expensive. Like, if I had it to do over, you know, would I change anything? Probably not, but it definitely is a little bit easier when you're splitting those costs with someone. So travel is something that I'm going to continue spending money on in 2023. I don't think I've really ever regretted any trip that I've taken, even, you know, the not so great trips. And I haven't really had a lot of those. I feel like a lot of your attitude is how, you know, if you have a good attitude when you're traveling, you'll probably have a better time. And I guess that's for any circumstance in life. Your attitude really determines how you feel. So now that we've looked at those bigger spending categories in 2022, I'd like to shift gears and think about what I want to change for 2023 and anything that I might do differently. So one thing I noticed was that having a low income this year really did hurt me. My income suffered because I had really bad pain for about the first 6 months of the year. I had chronic back pain, and it was no joke. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't really do anything comfortably, and it really affected my ability to work and my actually ability to just enjoy life in general. I was very depressed, and you know, a depressed business owner is not a good thing because we rely on our own motivation to get things done. And so my income this year was probably about half of what it was the previous years. So, you know, it was tough to kind of have to let my income and my business take a back seat. But I mean, mentally, I just could not do it. And I'm really glad that I set myself up the way that I did with saving money and having an emergency fund and having, you know, like this house paid for and these resources already paid for, because, you know, when I got into that accident, if I had to keep working, I really don't think that I would be doing as well as I am. I am hoping that 2023 will be better for me and that my pain will get better. So I also went from being a 1-person household to a 2-person household, which was nice because now we don't have to pay 2 of everything. When he moved in here, we noticed that we do have 2 of everything. Like, we had 2 air fryers, 2 toasters, 2 coffee makers, and I'm like, I'm so glad that we're not going to be paying 2 electric bills anymore, and, you know, 2 grocery bills. And our grocery bill obviously is higher because it's 2 of us, but honestly, like, by the time that you get around to eating something when you're by yourself, you usually don't finish the whole thing. So now I just feel like overall financially we are both better off now that we are living together. And as far as, you know, kind of moving in with a partner, make sure that you're on the same page financially and that you discuss what you guys both plan on contributing, because, you know, I've just noticed that a lot of people talk about how they're having issues with their partner, and I feel like so many of those things could have been figured out if they had had conversations about finances before. I know y'all don't want to talk about money sometimes, but, you know, talking about money demystifies it, and that's one of the reasons why I like to make these types of videos, because I feel like, you know, an average person's income, while not that exciting, like maybe this video is not the coolest topic on the internet, it is nice for other people to be able to see, like, okay, she made very little money this year, but she's still able to do this, this, and this, and she's still able to kind of move forward with her goals. And so that's why it's important for me to kind of share this with you guys. I would also like to make sure that in 2023, I invest in myself financially, whether that be starting a class or doing some kind of program, or, you know, doing Skillshare, or, you know, masterclass, or taking an Excel class, or taking any kind of class. I just feel like I didn't do as much for myself mentally in 2022 as I would have liked. And I know part of that is the pain and the depression, but you know, in 2023, I'd like to see my money go into me. Like I was saying with that alcohol thing, spending that money, while, you know, it's not a life-changing amount of money one way or the other, but to have invested that money in myself, and my growth would have been so much better than investing it in alcohol. So in 2023, I'd like to see myself, kind of put me first when it comes to my education and developing myself. I did read about 14 books in 2022, less books than I usually read, but I am still happy that I was able to average about 1 book a month. I will probably do a what I read this year video if I get around to it, but I do think that, investing in yourself with reading or with courses or with mentorship is always a good idea. I also really thought about doing one of those adult summer camps or women's retreat camps. And I'm kind of an introvert, but I think it would maybe be a good experience for me. So if you guys know of anything like that in the South, let me know, or maybe I could fly out to wherever it is. But if it was Nashville or Atlanta, that would be even better because I could just drive. But yeah, let me know if you guys know of any kind of opportunity like that. I would love to do it with all women because I just feel like I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. But that is something that I was kind of thinking about. I saw some of those on TikTok and I was like, oh, that looks really fun. That looks cool. And who doesn't need to revisit their inner child at some point? So as far as my business and my career go, I noticed with reselling, that's what I do by trade. I'm really finding it harder and harder to do this business for multiple reasons, but one of which is just that it's not as plentiful in the thrift stores to find stuff. It's really not a scalable business, and I'm really just kind of over it. And I know that a lot of my main audience that I grew on YouTube with are resellers, and I really, I've enjoyed reselling. I think it's been good, and I just shipped out something this morning, so I'm not by any means quitting reselling, but I do feel like I'm ready to make some sort of transition with my career, and I feel like, just listening to my intuition, I want to work more on YouTube, and I also want to work more on my graphic design business, because those are the things that have made me money this year and fulfilled me and caused me, honestly, the least amount of stress. So I'm trying to make the most amount of money for the least amount of stress. That's my main goal in life. So as far as YouTube this year, I went from making about $230 a month in 2021 to making about $350 a month in 2022 on YouTube. So it is consistently growing for me, not growing super fast, but I think I did about 60 videos this year. So a little bit more than 1 video per week, which is pretty good target to shoot for. I've noticed that YouTube, it is a grind, but I do think YouTube rewards consistency, and you want to keep content coming out, because there's nothing worse than going to someone's channel and seeing that you love their content, but their last video was uploaded 3 years ago, and you're like, oh my god, this person just completely dropped off. They could have been successful on YouTube, but they didn't have that consistency component that you need to be successful. So I feel like I've been pretty good about that. I've kept in touch with my audience, and while the style of my content has changed throughout the course of my YouTube channel, the videos overall, I think the production quality has gotten better, my lighting has gotten better, I've become a better speaker, and it's something that I want to kind of continue putting energy into in 2023. So the point of this video I wanted was to just kind of get crystal clear on where I'm at financially this year and where I want to go in 2023. I think that we're all struggling right now. The prices of everything is going up, and the only thing that's not going up seems to be incomes. So it's very tough to just kind of get your basic needs met when inflation is happening and there's not as many job opportunities around. So, I understand if you are feeling hopeless or feeling like, what's the point of even trying to do this financial goals stuff? But, whether you can save $2,000 a month or $200 a month or $20 a month, I think that when you save money and when you set goals, it really does change your mindset and the way that you look at life. And I think that, going forward into 2023, one thing I thought I might try to do is maybe do a no spend month, maybe try experimenting with that. I've already gone pretty full into decluttering and KonMari, and if you've read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, you know that there can be a lot of freedom in getting rid of things and getting rid of possessions, and it really removes a lot of decision fatigue if you don't have as many clothes, as many dishes, as many appliances. And so I'm really trying to kind of live by that. But with 2023 about to begin, one thing I just want to say to you guys is that I sincerely appreciate you watching all of these years, and if you're a new viewer, I really appreciate you being here as well. I do plan on continuing to make budget and goal updates throughout 2023. I may zero in on some other things to focus on monthly, but this has been my 2023 financial goals update and my 2022 recap. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking with you, and I will catch you in the next video.